who reconstructs selected moments in the everyday life of the future Pope Francis, adding a few details suggestive of the period to set the historical scene and put the latter's words into context. "Our life is the most precious book we have been given," the pontiff said in a cycle of catechesis he launched in 2022 dedicated to the theme of discernment. A book that, unfortunately, many people do not read, or rather, they do so too late before dying. And yet, precisely in that book, one finds what one pointlessly seeks elsewhere. We might ask ourselves, have I ever recounted my life to anyone? It is one of the most beautiful and intimate forms of communication, recounting one's own life. It allows us to discover hitherto unknown things, small and simple, but as the Gospel says, it is precisely from the little things that the great things are born. And so, turning afresh the pages of the precious book that is life, Pope Francis will lead us down a road paved with emotion, joy, and suffering, a look through a window on the past that will help us better know our present, right up to the last chapter, with a history that remains to be written. Fabio Marchese Ragona. 1. The outbreak of World War II. Like every morning, the news is playing on the radio. Mario Bergoglio usually switches it on while he makes coffee in the small kitchen before going to work. The floor is still wet in places. His wife, Regina, has already taken advantage of a brief moment of calm to run the mop over it. The scent and flavor of the steaming dark beverage remind Mario of Italy and his childhood in the Piemontese town of Portocamaro near Asti, like Marcel Proust in Swan's Way, dipping his Madeleine in a cup of tea and remembering his childhood with his aunt, Leonie. Mario's private moment of recollection is interrupted, however, by the crying of little Oscar, his second child, who is giving the neighborhood no peace. The 7 o'clock bulletin, playing in the background, has mostly political news. President Roberto Ortiz has issued a new statement on the Special Commission of Inquiry on Anti-Argentine Activities, set up at the time with the aim of denazifying the nation. Further disturbances, organized by the General Confederation of Labor, are expected from the workers' movement. In September of 1939, Argentina's urban centers are alive with conflicting currents of opinion. The Third Reich has managed to infiltrate a few fringe elements of society, and broadcasts praising the greatness of Germany under Adolf Hitler occasionally make their way onto some of the radio stations. Having swiftly drunk his coffee, and before leaving the small, brightly colored family home at 531 Via Membriar in the Flores district of Buenos Aires, Mario kisses Regina goodbye. She has picked up the toddler, 1 year and 8 months old, to calm him down. The young couple's other child, Jorge, not quite 3 years old, is ready to leave the house. Rosa, Mario's mother, who lives nearby, will arrive in a few minutes to take him home with her for the day. A ritual that is repeated nearly every day, this is a way for Grandma Rosa to help and support her daughter-in-law as she deals with 1,000 domestic worries and, above all, takes care of Oscar. Mario, after giving his children a kiss too, is standing by the door with his wife when, in a rare moment of silence, they are suddenly aware of a particular item on the radio, among all the other pieces of news from abroad. Neville Chamberlain, the British Prime Minister, has announced that his country is at war with Nazi Germany. The ultimatum he presented a few hours earlier, in response to the invasion and bombing of Poland, has been left unanswered. It is the beginning of the Second World War, but that is not immediately understood, particularly in South America. It is a news item, like others in Argentina, close to the end of the broadcast, just before the musical interlude, but this Italo-Argentine couple is shocked. Their thoughts fly first to their cousins and other relatives living in Europe, as they are assailed by memories of the horrifying stories of the First World War they have heard 1,000 times from Mario's father, Giovanni, who fought at the front. But their feelings of sadness and worry disappear a few seconds later with 2 firm raps on the door. Grandma Rosa has arrived, and the sudden commotion finally silences Oscar to everyone's relief. Jorge, seeing his grandmother come in, runs into her arms.
What a wonderful woman. I loved her so much. Grandma Rosa, my paternal grandmother, was a key figure in my growth and development. She lived no more than 150 feet from our home. I used to spend whole days with her. She played games with me and sang me songs from her childhood. I often heard